It's a pleasure to sit down with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Zander.
Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Sheikh Durrell Kinsey Bey. I am a youth advocate. I'm a father, I'm a grandfather of a blended family of 4. Oldest is 26, the youngest is almost 3 months old, and I'm 31 years old. Originally from Eastern Washington, specifically known as Tri-Cities.
Weezy out of here. Weezy out of here. Weezy out. Jumped out of a wave right into a daze. It can wreck your life. You gotta think twice. Put it together, the color I like. Know it look better when
A youth, what was it you
Youth
said?
advocate.
A youth advocate. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So a youth advocate is one who advocates for the well-being of youth, primarily dealing with social-emotional learning, providing opportunity for them to learn life skills and entrepreneurial mindsets.
Is there like a program that you do that through? Or is that like a one-on-one coaching that you do?
So my whole life has been predicated off of that. It's adding value to those who are younger than me, like in the streets, you probably know him as a big homie. That's been my thing. When I moved to Oregon, I was able to get a part of an organization called REAP, which was founded in 2001 in Portland, Oregon. And it's a multicultural youth leadership development organization that is designed to proactively ignite and elevate and engage the next wave of leaders for the future now. They have a school out of Mali, Africa, and we collectively are in about 12 school districts throughout the state of Oregon, and moving to 2 additional districts in the state of Washington. And also I'm a co-founder of the BIPOC Rise More Healing Center, which is a multicultural community leadership development organization. And our mission is to uplift fallen humanity and teach those things necessary to make us better citizens.
Wow. Can you tell me how you got involved? Because that seems like some deep roots. How do you get involved in something like that?
Well, it's not always about what you know, it's about who you know. And there was a young man who is a huge mentor of mine, even though he's a little shorter than I am. That's a little small jab at him. But his name is Chris Odom. And Chris Odom, has been in Portland for quite some time, was actually also a REAP student years ago. And he told me about the opportunity to work for the REAP organization. I obliged, and then I really had my life changed radically in a positive way. And I also just began to sit at his feet and learn, be humble, because he also had started a nonprofit called the Black Community of Portland. And then he since moved on from that organization and started another organization called the Black Economic Collective. And so as he was doing that, it gave me the inspiration to do the same exact thing that he was doing, while simultaneously also working for REAP.
Oh, so REAP is essentially, it's like a program of its own that helps young people become the best version of themselves?
Correct.
Through mentorship? Or was that just you found him as a mentor?
It's through mentorship. We have quite a few programs. We have Solutions, which is a cohort of all-inclusive ethnic backgrounds and genders, with an emphasis on business, civics. What else? You have business, civics, health. Why am I forgetting them? Civics, business, health. The rest of them escape me at the top of my head right now. But that's all through that curriculum for Solutions. Mm-hmm. Then you have Renaissance, which is for the young males of color. I don't personally like that term, but that's what it's for. And it's a primary focus on young men. Then there's Young Entrepreneurship Program, which is called YEP. Then we have a Reflections Program, which is in-school suspension. Obviously getting students opportunity to reflect on their actions and behaviors and their thoughts. Very honing in on trauma-informed approaches and practices with a restorative justice approach collectively as an organization is what we value. Suicide prevention, things of that nature. Then we have behavioral health program that we just launched, and that has other components to add value to the youth so they can be peer support specialists in the state of Oregon, which provides them opportunity to go into the mental health field, become psychologists, become teachers, become more equipped to handle situations dealing with their peers. Then we have annual events, Black Male Challenge, Young Women of Purpose, Young Men of Purpose, Institute of Purpose, which is for the summer programming. We have Journey Academy, which is basically Saturday school, 10 to 2 typically. And we provide the students with food, provide them reading time, math time, and various categories dealing with Black history, business, dealing with the entrepreneurship program, and computer coding. And these are all free programs that we provide to students.
And where can you find these programs at?
10808 South or Northeast Halsey Street. That's the headquarters for REAP organization. Mr. Jackson is the executive director of REAP, and Mr. Thomas is one of the co-founders of REAP.
And when you say we, because you keep saying we put on this program, we put on this program, who is we? Who runs the program?
So the we are the YECs, which is Youth Essentials Coordinators. The Youth Essentials Coordinators are basically the backbone of the organization's operations. When the founders were established the organization in 2001, they were the original YECs. So as they built their organization, they were the ones working directly with the students. As they began to get more funding, began to create more programs to get more donations, and the people in the community and the government specifically saw the impact that they were making, they had to make some pivots where they could be able to hire more people. And so since 2001, now they've employed almost over 100 people.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and there's people that are different departments. Some people director of development, people might be working on getting more grants, people might be working on the business operations of the business. You have people that are administrative assistants, you have people that are a part of the data, be able to, provide different reports to grantors who are wanting to provide money. They're wanting to get more information on the data, how many girls, how many boys, how many Mexican students, how many students that are from immigrated from Africa, how many students from America that are African descent, et cetera. All those different demographics, because some organizations specifically value that, like Meyer Memorial Trust, for example, like they value, making a social impact when it comes to diversity.
I'm just trying to understand, because you're saying so much aspect, like it's this huge, big, broad thing. Is there any way you could sum it up?
REAP is an organization that is creating a platform for United Nations of Youth Empowerment.
For Oregon and Washington?
The world.
For the world. So you're going online and doing all that too?
Sometimes there's online programming, but like I said, we have a school in Mali, Africa, that's REAP School. And so there's an international component. And the goal for the founders is to have this system duplicated everywhere on the planet. So people that are considered youth understand that they actually have a voice, and their voice actually matters, meaning actually matters, to the point where our collective organization has created an atmosphere for youth to be able to create laws for the state of Oregon, ultimately for the United States government, and they're the only organization, i.e. state government in the whole entire United States, that's actually doing this in the level that they are doing it. They passed the bill for a youth advisory council for students like yourself to be engaged on the state level and national level. There's no other state that's doing that at this time. So
for you, why do you do it? Is it to stay a part of that big brother role that you always had?
Absolutely. Because when I was young, I had some people who did give me some good feedback and give me some words of wisdom and insights, but it wasn't like that throughout my whole entire life. I didn't have somebody from third grade always providing, some goal setting, mindset adjustments, helping me make big time decisions, someone who might help me get some basketball shoes or pay for me to get into a basketball tournament or pay for me to go to Like there was a time where I was playing basketball and I was gonna go play in Europe for the United States for like a youth, like amateur basketball.
When you were young
league.
and you played basketball?
Yeah, and there was a certain amount of money that was needed.
Yeah.
So like, had I been connected to REAP, more than likely there's a chance that I would have been able to fundraise money and had access to that money to get the ticket, or there would have been some connections within the network of REAP where somebody would be able to just pay for the ticket and I would be able to just go.
So REAP is essentially like a, I don't know how to, maybe like a parental figure to some extent?
You could say that, absolutely. Absolutely. The thing that I like to say is what I've seen with REAP, which is what I brought to my organization as a nonprofit founder, is making a multi-generational impact. You know, because you could see it not only just with the generations, but you can see it when it comes to the siblings and family members. Like, for example, I have done programming for 3 children of a mother. All 3 of her children have been through my programming, whether like, and my personal impact has actually been affecting their family in a positive
Like
light.
directly affecting them?
Directly. So from the youngest, who's like 6 now, to the one who's now in high school, and the oldest who's about to be just 2 or 3 years, or 1 to 2 years out of high school. So they're about to graduate. And I've known them since they were in 6th, 7th grade. You know, so these, and also, you know, some high school students that they graduated last year, and I've known them since they were freshmen, and they've been involved in the program. And that when I first met them, their first day, all nervous, trying to figure out where their class is, and I was helping them to their class, and now they're helping other students to go to class, you know, and they're figuring, you know, they're now in the leadership components of the school, right? So we're really wanting to make an impact that's felt in so many different aspects of life, an array of different points. If you want to hit different points and categories, we're talking about, for me specifically, it's like home environment, neighborhood, overall community, and the collective community, whether it be the city or the school district, and then to the state, and then extending it nationally, and then extending it internationally. Like, that's what I see that we have been doing, and I just try to double down and make it more actionable and practical to reimagine what it actually looks like, to kind of duplicate the system that has already been provided by the founders.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, man.
That's impressive. That's a lot to take in, right?
It's a decision. You got to make a decision. If you want to, you know, actually add value, make a decision and you do it. You know, I think that when you look at youth, I mean, you're your youth. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that y'all are dealing with, and there's need for more support. And when you're not supported, you tend to get involved with things that are destructive.
Yeah.
If you have a bunch of time to idle and not do anything productive, you're going to do some stupid stuff. That's just what's going to happen. And so the more and more you're engaged with things that are challenging you to be better, the better off you'll be. For example, there's people that don't like to speak in front of cameras. You know, there's people that don't like to speak in front of people at all.
Yeah.
There's people who are intimidated by individuals in suits, individuals with feathers on their heads, you know, intimidated by like adults in general, or adults that are in certain positions of power. They are intimidated by them. But see, through the REAP program, and of course, the work that I do outside of REAP, it's getting them to be confident, to understand that they're living in a world with other human beings. It's not like that they're adult or not an adult, or a millionaire or a billionaire, or a president of the United States or a president of this country. It's like these people are people. People make mistakes. People do successful things. People are rude. People are kind. You know what I'm saying? People are people. And so when you can begin to realize that your mindset and how you have it right now, if you continue to hone in on it and double down even more, you're going to make an impact so transformative that you won't even realize how the magnitude of it. Because, like, you got so much potential, And so if you double down on that, and instead of, not that you do this, but instead of focus on things that don't actually benefit you and add value to you and make you a better person, and you focus on things that just make you better and challenge you to be better, everything that you touch will be better.
So it's all about the students then, essentially, to show them that they really have value.
Only about the student. Because every single thing that you are doing as a youth essentials coordinator like myself, my whole goal is, how can I justify adding value to the student? But there's things that are correlated so much to the food, the diseases that we have, it is crazy. To the point, in the documentary, he asked the American Heart Association president, he said, could you explain to me, because it was an interview just like this, could you explain to me the correlation between diet and diabetes? He said, I cannot answer that question. Well, that is clear. That goes to show you and I that there's something that's going on with the food. And when we control our food access and food sources, we can control our health.
Why do you think the information isn't out there? Personally, what I think is it's all these corporations who want to make money, so they throw out people's health for the fact that they can put cheap crap in candy and sell it to people.
Yeah, and to double down on that, it's not just the corporations of themselves, like individual corporations doing this and doing that. It's corporations working together to make money. Like they're collectively working together to make money. And then what they do is they lobby politicians. They pay them all these amounts of money to support their campaigns, to keep them in office. So then they don't come up with this bill, or they push these bills down that's adverse to what it is that they're doing. More regulation. Oh, we don't want regulation because then you're gonna have to look into what we're doing. We don't want to have public access to seeds because we want to have privatized access to seeds, so then we could patent the seeds and then we can saturate the market, so then the seeds that we have, that we manufacture, can only go to the public.
It's all about money and power.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And control, in the sense of manipulating people emotionally, because again, you have the politicians, then you have the media, then you have the different sectors in the federal government, different departments that are swayed one way. The directors are swayed one way or the other. Now, these are non-elected officials, which comes to some of the things that are happening in the current administration, of how certain things are being cut and moved aside, disregarded, completely demolished, because some things that have been happening have been counterproductive to the American people.
Yeah, that kind of leads me into the direction of how has Trump and his policies and all that affected you, your organizations, and you personally?
Great question. So when it comes to my work, we recently had, just yesterday, it was announced that the county has a A&E program that's going to be shutting down in June. And that created a $2.4 million deficit. And so there's students that are in these programs that are incarcerated kind of like 75, 25, 80, 20. So 80 free to roam, 20 on lockdown. It's a great.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
So there's people in juvenile institutions in Multnomah County that are on lockdown like 23, 22 hours a day. Mm-hmm. The A&E program provides an opportunity for you to get to go play basketball, to go to different games, you work out, watch TV.
But because I feel like you could say they earned their spot into juvenile, right? They weren't just thrown in there for no reason.
Yes. The thing about that is the precautionary measures that are taken to not institutionalize youth. Because when you're talking about the school to prison pipeline, if you're institutionalized, it's more destructive for a person to go into an institution like that, being in that environment, and not be able to rehabilitate, because the environment is created a vacuum of destruction for the people that are in it, meaning they're not able to do a crime, get arrested, go to juvie, serve their time, learn their lesson, and go back to society and be productive members of society. It's not an environment that creates that.
Instead of us trying to actually fix these people and change them so that they can actually benefit society, we're throwing them into a short-term solution. That's what I'm understanding.
Yeah, short-term solution. Yeah, because the short-term solution is just, get them off the streets.
Get them out of the way.
Yeah, and that doesn't help. It should be done in a way that's more pragmatic, meaning intentional on creating more resources to actually add value to this person. Have you ever heard of a land acknowledgement?
A land acknowledgement?
Mm-hmm. We say, hey, we're standing on the land of the Multnomah, the Cowlitz. And
Yeah.
so the land acknowledgement is a good faith thing. It's intended to do well and be good, but it's counterproductive. For example, we drove in your car here, right?
Yeah.
So now, let's say we leave, interview's over, we leave, I beat you up, take your car. But then I go on the news and I say, hey, I just want to acknowledge that I stole Zander's car. I just want to let you know I stole it. Not going to give it back, but I did steal his car, and I want that to be acknowledged for him to know that I was the one who stole his car. Now, your car is still stolen. You're walking everywhere you go. You're taking the bus, etc.
Yeah.
I'm driving around in your car. Mm-hmm. I haven't changed nothing about it. Just is mine.
And what does that have to do?
And how does that make you feel that I took your car? I'm not going to give it back, but I am going to acknowledge that I did take it.
And really, like, hypothetically, there's nothing I could do to get it back. Like,
Right.
I couldn't go to court. I couldn't
Right.
talk to anybody about it.
Nothing.
Well, that
How
would
would you
suck. That would suck.
So the same thing goes for those who are indigenous to the Americas, like myself, who hear in a land acknowledgement to acknowledge that land was stolen and the land that we are on had been conquered, and the names have been changed, and the rules have been changed, and the laws have been changed to benefit people who took the land, can't go to court, can't do these things to get the land back, can't get the resources back. You see what I'm saying? And then now, the alternative is just deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Where does that specifically come from? The idea of taking land, because isn't that, now as humans we've evolved past that, but hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years ago, that's all people did. They built up their clans, they killed people, they took land, they stole their money. That's what they did. And now it's the same thing. It's like, is that human nature? Because it still happens, except now you go to court. It still happens, but instead of killing someone, taking their money, maybe you just steal their car, break their windows, do all that.
I don't think that it's human nature. I think that human nature is to submit to the Creator, or to be righteous, or to have principles. I think that the original, or the essence of human nature is actually to do good, right? I don't have the perceived pessimistic ideology that human nature is to be destructive. I think that we have a natural urge to do things destructive because we have a free will to act, and we're responsible for our actions.
People react on greed and all those negative traits.
But they don't have to. Like racism is taught. It's not, you're not born racist. You're not born hating people. You're not born being mean or disrespectful. Those are learned behaviors. And then when we go through life and we learn different lessons in life, how we respond to those lessons is more so what type of person that we become. When you think about it in a microcosmic level, it's a crazy situation.
I'm starting to understand why you got into politics and you actually ran for something.
Yeah, I ran for mayor for the city of Portland, and my objective was to highlight a philosophy that was like one of the main objectives outside of trying to win. Was the main objective is having that takeaway for people to be able to know not only where I stand, but where I see us going, or what I see is actually happening and how we can actually counteract it. So values: human rights, social equity, economic optimism, and environmental justice. Those are my 4 value systems for my campaign. I had 3 initiatives: family-based public health, community-based public safety, and socio-ecological infrastructure. I had 7 main components to my campaign. And those 7, I personally believe, are irrefutable to any government structure, any society, anywhere on the world. If you don't have those, you don't have an actual functioning society, which is why I believe my campaign was the strongest, regardless if I won votes or not, because of the fact that when the person won, and it's Mayor Wilson, his success will be predicated off of using some of those components. There's no way he's going to get out of this $100 million deficit that he's under right now without economic optimism, without social equity, without human rights, without environmental justice. Because currently, right now, in Northwest Portland, we have a ticking time bomb. We have oil tanks that are above ground right now that are slowly sinking into the soil. If anything gets ruptured or there's a reaction, all of Northwest Portland will be possibly obliterated. And that's going to potentially spread across the city because you got trees, you got different other chemicals.
So literally like burn, blow up?
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, it's oil. It's like millions of gallons of oil, millions of tons of oil are just right there. They were moved from downtown in like the 1900s, early 1900s, like 1906, or something like that. And then they moved out there. But they moved it out there because they wanted to kind of have it away so it wouldn't have as much collateral damage.
Mm-hmm. Just like a temporary fix again.
Yeah, and not really using the resources efficiently. I used to work at a nuclear plant for the federal government, Department of Energy.
Really?
That's back home. And that nuclear waste that's out there is the same nuclear waste that came from a nuclear bomb that was dropped in Nagasaki in Japan in World War II. We, the community I'm from, the people that worked on that site for the Manhattan Project, they built that bomb. We built that bomb. And then the residue of them making the bomb so quickly because World War II and Japan just did this to Pearl Harbor, we gotta get going, we gotta push it out. The residue that was left went into the soil and people got cancer and they died. They didn't get paid, they didn't get settlements, they didn't get anything, they're dead, they're gone. Because of the fumes they breathed in, because of the different exposure, radiation exposure, they died. And that stuff, that residue, went into the soil supply, which then affected the animal life, which affected the vegetation. And then that's seeping into the water supply on the planet right now, actively. Right now.
So Portland's been this peaceful place, and I don't know if it came out of nowhere, but there's a big homeless problem. So I'm curious, where did this come from? Where did it start? What happened?
Well, COVID-19 was a huge component that created a environment where a lot of individuals could not afford their homes. A lot of individuals were being evicted because the owners, landlords, increasing rent. There was no rent caps. And so then it created an environment where people could no longer afford to live where they were living. And some of them still had jobs. They still saw their family. They didn't do drugs or anything like that. But there came a time where people became either desperate or, overwhelmed with their current condition. Then there was laws that were passed that created an opportunity for people to do drugs essentially legally without any consequences. And so people began doing drugs more or freely, because they have always been doing drugs. But then they got addicted, and then people that lived in other parts of the country were incentivized to come to Portland, to live.
Because
on
of the
streets.
drug laws that got
Because of the
passed.
drug laws and because of the policies, like, not to pin one party versus the other party, but because Oregon is primarily Democratic Party adjacent, some of those policies created opportunity for people to take advantage of it for the negative ramifications of the overall community or society. I would want to have national laws instituted in all the states and all the counties and all the cities in the United States of America to cease identifying human beings as colors from a crayon box. So black, white, red, yellow, brown, eradicating that completely out of our society. Identify people as humans first, and whatever nation that they're descended from, address it as such. So no longer using terms like Hispanic, Latino, Negro, African American, all that complete eradicating that. Even Native American, American Indian, the specific tribe that they're from or the tribes that they're connected to address that and honor that with the flags and the culture, the Constitution, etc. Like, that is what I would want to be spearheading across the United States of America.
Mr. Bey, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Gratitude.
It's a car, cause I like it. I said it's funny, it don't cost that much. She say, why you told that gun already? You just fight. Cause the day I put it down be the day I'm out of luck.